Well, welcome to the first podcast, Two Guys, One Field. If you're here for the first time, which obviously you are, first intro video, everything like that. So we're just here, we're just talking about farming, talking our minds. Starting this because we talk about farming every time we hang out, so figured we might as well share it and learn some new information from everybody else.
So we are, once again, Two Guys, One Field. That's the name of the podcast and the YouTube
Great
channel.
name, by the way.
We are both farmers from Midwest Ohio on the Ohio-Indiana line. We've both grown up in agriculture. My name is Chace Drew, and this is Adam Rodeheffer.
We just started, whenever we were real young, we both grew up around farms. We both have a family farm. My grandpa actually started the farm, and then I don't know how many generational farm you guys are.
I would be a third generation farmer.
So we're both third generation farmers. And we're a part of, last time I checked, it was 9% of farmers under 35.
I'm freshly 21 as of April, and he is still 20. We both graduated in the class of 24.
We actually met playing Pee Wee football, believe it or not. So, hell yeah. But we started this, figured we might as well post something. It helps us reach out to more people, talk to more people, etc. I'm actually a seed salesman as well as a farmer, so that goes hand in hand. Dad always told me I need to bring something back to the farm if I want to come back and farm, I should say.
We started this podcast. Well, sorry, I also forgot to mention that my family, we contract raise pigs, and we grow corn and soybeans for the most part. That takes up the majority of our farm.
Well, we started this podcast because we figured, you know what, why not? Other than when we're in season, we should have time later in the evening to just record and talk about farming, what's all going on in the world, what we can do to help, what's happening here, what's happening there, just stuff like that.
We wanna talk about and explore all the different areas of farming, but we're gonna keep it short and sweet on this one. We wanted to introduce who we are. We're gonna go over. We've got 8 episodes planned already with topics, and we just really enjoy farming, and we want to bring light to everyone that doesn't know anything about it. Because it's our passion, it's what we spend every day doing. We get to do it with our families, which love it or hate it, can be tough sometimes, but we love it most of the time.
Just don't get on Dad or Grandpa's nerves, that's for dang sure.
We're going to talk about what a farm life is really like, and what people get wrong and what people get right about farming. A lot of people just assume because you're a farmer that you're rich, and that's not really the case. Or they could assume you're also really poor, which, once again, isn't the case. And
it really goes hand in hand. And I heard this, and I don't know who I heard it from, but it is one thing I will always repeat. Farmers are the brokest millionaires.
You're also, as a farmer, you're not rich till you're dead. When your grandkids, especially nowadays, or your kids at $20,000 an acre higher in certain places, they just auction it off, which has become a big thing with inheritance.
And you look at it, if you go out, say, you're spending probably $150,000, $200,000 on a tractor, but that will actually make you money. Rather than if you went out and spent that on a boat or something. Now, if you're smart, you'll go back, you'll reinvest everything into the business. You got to spend money to make money. And I will always live by that.
There's a lot of questions when it comes to farming, and especially right now with how bad the economy is when it comes to it. is why we keep doing it. And I honestly think I like to do it because I get to spend time with my family and my friends that help. And that, to me, is one of the biggest parts of it. Because when you graduate high school and you turn 18, 20, and you move out, so you go to college, you get a job, you move out the next year or two, you've already spent like 80% of time with your parents and your family that you'll ever get to spend with them. But I get to see them every day. And that's a big part of it for me.
I mean, you get to see the farm grow. You get to see your parents' age, grandparents' age. Granted, not always the greatest thing to think about, but it does happen. It's life. But you're still spending quality time. You're still talking to them. You're getting to know them better than you ever did. Now, granted, whenever you're young, you see one side of them, but you don't see the other. You're either occupied with school, sports, a job that you have going through high school, and then you come back and work on the farm. So it's just another, I say, touch point you get to have with your parents or grandparents.
Another great thing, when it comes to farming and what we do is we have the freedom to do stuff like this. When we get out of the field late at night, we can come do this and be able to spend time with our friends. We've known each other since we were 9 or 10. This is something that we've thought about for a long time, is starting a podcast and a YouTube to show you what our daily lives are like and what we do and just how we make our living and what our lives look like. Either grain farming, or I would love to show the livestock part of it with my hog barn and my nursery, just to show everyone where their food comes on and what our lives are like for people that have no idea and have no prior knowledge of farming.
Because, I mean, you go by and you talk to one person, they have a completely different idea on farming.
And we come from a small farming town, and, outside of a couple kids in your school have no idea what the farm economics or the farm life is like, from a real life standpoint.
Everybody just looks at farmers and thinks, oh, they got all sorts of money. They got big barns. They got a bunch of nice equipment. But in all reality, that is just reinvesting, trying to make a business that you can hand down to your son, hand down to your grandson.
And a lot of the times, it doesn't make sense on paper what you're doing at the time, but you got to take risks, to keep things rolling, keep things in business, to grow. And not everybody wants to grow, but that's part of it, just trying to stay alive, especially nowadays with, all the large farms, not trying to, everyone's selling out. And
it gets rough. I mean, you will always have down points. And one thing nobody ever really talks about is how much debt you get into. Now, you always hear, oh, they're rich, they got all sorts of money. Really, that's not the case. If you are growing, you are trying to grow a business, you are in debt.
And that's something we're going to break down in the next coming episodes. We're going to go over crop costs an acre. We're going to go over buying a farm with minimal equipment and farming it yourself, buying a farm to rent it, chemistry of planting corn, seed costs, everything that comes into it, even when you should sell it, when not to sell it. It's all coming in, upcoming episodes we have planned.
And I mean, you look at it now, you got $20,000 an acre field around us. And I mean, from a couple years ago where you could buy it for probably $10,000 an acre. Just that big of a difference. And land will always be a good investment. Now, it might be a struggle from time to time, but normally, and almost any farmer will tell you this, land is a great investment. It is a investment that I say keeps gaining value. Like, it will almost never depreciate. I have never seen it depreciate, but I'm also only 20 years old, so.
Alrighty, well, we want to keep this one short and sweet and just kind of reach out and show you who we are and everything. So we're going to end it on a story time, whether that be a funny or a bad story, a bad, for lack of better words, you messed something up or we had fun, My story is I was dumping corn out of an end dump, and I was raising it up with the PTO, and I was looking back to check. We normally go 1 stage, 2 stage, 3 stage when we're dumping at the leg, and I was raising the PTO and it got stuck and I didn't realize. So I started walking back to the back of the truck, and about the time I realized there was corn starting to seep through the seams from the pressure, and I was like, holy shit. And I full sprint to the front of the truck to start lowering it down, and that could have been bad, if it raised up too high and I got into the dump. It would have been a mess for me.
Where do I begin? I am a master of messing stuff up. Oh, what would be a good one? Oh, crap. I got a couple. I mean, one I really remember, and it made Grandpa so happy that I did it. Not really. But we were going away. I was probably 8, 9, 10 years old running grain cart, and there's a washout. Well, I didn't know I was supposed to be paying attention. So we hit the washout, and thank God Grandpa was sitting there and he was paying attention, because dang it, we about lost an auger because it was a rough washout. It was bad. But that was not a fun day. That's one way to get your butt whooped. I definitely learned after that one. But yeah.
Alrighty, well, that's going to do it for the first episode of Two Guys, One Field. We appreciate everyone that tuned in. Once again, I am Chase Drew. This is Adam Rodeheffer, and there's more to come. We already have episodes planned, and once we get all of our planting done, we will be back with more. Maybe try to record some at night just so we can get them pushed out and just inform everybody.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Alrighty, thanks, brother. Thanks for your guys' time, and we hope you have a great night.